Some of Jehovah's people may think this is too drastic, and that their keeping in contact with a disfellowshipped friend or relative is a kindness. But they could not be more wrong about that. You see, it may salve their own feelings, but they would be doing the worst possible thing for the disfellowshipped person.
The worst possible thing. That was Robert Siranko, a helper to the governing body, explaining the organization's shunning policy. The argument is that cutting off all contact with a former member, even your own child, is not only necessary, it's a profound act of kindness. In their 2024 Governing Body Update Number 2, Governing Body member Mark Sanderson framed this entire arrangement as a reflection of Jehovah's mercy.
The governing body has prayerfully considered how Jehovah's mercy could be better reflected when dealing with wrongdoers in the congregation.
Jehovah's mercy, a loving kindness. That's the official narrative, but it forces us to ask a critical question. If this policy is truly motivated by love and mercy, why do its internal rules demand a level of social isolation so complete that it has been condemned by courts and violates our most fundamental human bonds? In this debug session, we're putting the governing body's policy on trial. The central question is this: is your disfellowshipping policy truly about restoring the sinner, or is it about enforcing absolute control through fear and isolation? Let's analyze the source code. The governing body's entire shunning policy is built on the foundation of 1 Corinthians chapter 5. Let's analyze the exact wording. Paul's inspired command is very specific. He says to stop keeping company with and not even eating with such a man. The operative commands here are about associating and sharing a meal, but is having a simple conversation, just talking to someone, the same thing as associating with them? According to the governing body's application, the answer is an absolute yes. For decades, they've taught that even saying hello violates this scripture, but this creates a critical system error in their logic. To see it, we have to debug the very definition of the words the Bible uses versus the words the governing body restricts. Let's run a diagnostic on the language. Talking with. This focuses on the act of communication, exchanging words and ideas. It can be a casual chat or a deeper discussion, but it's primarily about the verbal exchange. Associating with. This term suggests a broader connection or relationship. It can include talking, but it also encompasses other forms of interaction, such as spending time together, sharing activities, or even just being seen together. It implies a more consistent and regular form of interaction. The source code is clear. Talking is a momentary action. Associating implies a relationship or regular connection. Every day, we talk to people we don't associate with. The mail carrier, a cashier, someone on a bus. The governing body understands this difference because their own Watchtower magazine says Christians have normal contacts with worldly people. They talk to them at work or school, but they don't associate with them. So they apply the dictionary definition correctly for non-witnesses. But when it comes to a disfellowshipped person, they deliberately blur this line. They take a clear biblical command about ending an association and expand it into a total ban on basic communication. The question is why? Why would they expand the rule so far beyond what is actually written? Let's see how this manufactured definition is used to control the emotions and actions of their followers.
That night, after the meeting, I told Ben about the text I received from Levi. I told him everything. How I miss Levi so much, but that I also wanted to be loyal to Jehovah, like Korah's sons. Ben admitted that he too had been struggling with feelings like mine. But then, he said something that I hadn't thought of. If we were to stand between Levi and the discipline he needs, we would in effect be blocking an expression of Jehovah's love from reaching him. In fact, it's our very loyalty to Jehovah that could save his life.
Did you catch the glitch? The son sent a text message. By definition, that is talking, not associating. Yet, the loving and loyal course, the one presented as a model for all witnesses, is to treat that simple verbal exchange as an obstacle to God's law. They must continue total silence. So, the claim that there is a reasonable distinction is a functional myth. In practice, the policy demands what it pretends to forbid: the complete severing of even basic communication. But nowhere is this contradiction more stark than in their policy on a simple greeting, a policy they held for over 40 years.
Under our current arrangement, we don't say a greeting to individuals who've been removed from the congregation. However, the governing body has decided that publishers can use their Bible-trained conscience to decide whether to give a simple greeting and welcome a disfellowshipped individual who attends a congregation meeting.
Hi. So good to see you here.
Thank you.
While we wouldn't have an extended conversation or socialize with such a person, we do not need to ignore him completely.
That was from March 2024. After decades of mandatory silence, a simple hi is now a matter of conscience. But let's analyze the source code on this. Is this a change of heart or a change of tactics? For over 40 years, this wasn't a matter of conscience at all. It was a command. A simple hello to someone can be the first step that develops into a conversation, and maybe even a friendship. Would we want to take that first step with a disfellowshipped person? The required answer to that question was a hard no. It was a strict rule. Now, with legal pressure mounting, like in Norway, where their registration was revoked precisely over these shunning practices, highlighting the phrase, "Unless we change our practices regarding the removal of unrepentant wrongdoers from the congregation." Suddenly, the program is patched. A simple hello is now permissible. This forces the question: was the 40-year-long rule that caused so much pain not from God? And how loving was it to enforce a command that can now be dismissed as a matter of conscience? The hypocrisy becomes undeniable when we look at their policy on the ultimate moment of family grief, a funeral. What if the deceased was disfellowshipped? The congregation would generally not be involved. The kingdom hall would not be used. Let's be perfectly clear. A family loses their child, and the official policy from this supposedly merciful organization is to abandon them. The community that watched that child grow up is instructed to turn its back. This isn't discipline. It is the weaponization of grief for the purpose of control. So, we have to ask the question again. Is this policy about mercy, or is it about control? The evidence is clear. The public-facing claims of love and mercy are a veneer. When cross-examined with their own internal rules and real-world application, the policy is revealed for what it is: a system of absolute control that demands total shunning of anyone who steps out of line, even at the cost of immense family trauma. They use word games like associating versus talking that they themselves ignore in their own dramas. They present a minor policy tweak on saying hello, made under legal pressure, as a grand act of divine mercy. And their policy extends this control beyond the grave by abandoning families at funerals. Their central claim is that the worst possible thing you could do for someone you love is show them basic kindness. But the real worst possible thing is allowing a system to sever the most natural bond in the universe: the love between a parent and their child. This isn't Jehovah's love. This is a glitch in the program, a control mechanism designed to enforce compliance through fear. If you're starting to see the glitches, please hit that subscribe button, like, or leave a comment. Thank you for joining me. Always remember, John chapter 8, verse 32, the truth will set you free. Until next time, awaken, question, and discover. Goodbye.